right, good evening. Welcome everyone. Dr. Stacy here. So excited that you are joining us on this Tuesday evening, or maybe you're catching the replay. I am excited for you to hear from Dr. Jon Harmon. He has been on here several times in the past talking about a variety of things with Lifewave's technology and health and wellness, and he has a fantastic presentation lined up for you this evening when we're talking about not only our LifeWave's flagship technology, the patches, but also really focusing in on the Cellergize. And we're really focusing tonight on heart health and the benefits. So I'm going to share with you a little bit about Dr. Harmon, and then, of course, he will take it from there. But before I get started, I'm not a medical doctor. He's not a medical doctor. We're not your doctors, and we are not here to make any claims to treat or cure or diagnose anything that's going on with you. If you have questions in regards to your health, please get back with your healthcare practitioner or your doctor that's responsible for helping you make those decisions. And of course, if you're pregnant, nursing, children, same thing. You know the disclaimer there. But if you are a guest tonight, we ask you to come here with an open mind to learn about LifeWave's technology and what it can offer for you to take control of your own health, of your own life. Take that responsibility and learn about this technology and how it can benefit you. So let me tell you a little bit about Dr. Harmon. I've known him now for 4 years. Just so grateful to be a part of this journey with him. He is a leading expert in brain and body wellness with a degree in human biology and a doctor of chiropractic, summa cum laude. He's board certified in quantitative EEG and neurofeedback, an IASIS certified practitioner, and president of Clear Mind Idaho. As a presidential director in Lifewave, Dr. Harmon will share how Cellergize supports nitric oxide production, promoting heart health, circulation, and energy. He is a husband to his beautiful wife, Carla, a father of 10, a grandfather of 27, and
Yikes.
proudly a former elementary school marbles champion. So,
Woo-hoo.
Dr. Harmon, take it away, buddy.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. It's really great to be back with on your Zoom. It's been a while. I always enjoy interacting with you, and I have to reset my the view here. There we go. All right. Well, she mentioned we're going to be talking about Cellergize tonight, and that is true. And I don't want you to get overwhelmed as I go through each of the nutrients or vitamins in Cellergize. Just know that there's going to be a summary at the end. And so you can kind of listen. You're not going to have to take notes, and then you can watch it again. Um, Stacy, do you have something set where I can't see anything? But I don't think so. We'll go on. I'm going to screen share anyway. So, um, all right.
Dr. Harmon, you're actually pinned to the top. Do you want
Okay.
me to remove your pin?
No, that's a good. That's
Okay.
good.
Okay.
Yeah, it confused me for a second. All right. Just ask my wife. I'm never confused.
All good. All good.
Yeah. All right. Well, when Stacy reached out to me a couple of weeks ago and asked me if I would do this, and I thought, that's really appropriate for me and apropos for me to do this about heart health because that's where I had my most profound shifts. Those were in my heart, and people asked me, "Hey, what did you feel right when you started using the patches?" And I always say, "Nothing." I felt a few gut changes and some other things, but my big shift didn't happen for about 2 years. And I only knew about it because I did two stress echoes over a period, a year and a half in between those two. So when I was diving deep into everything that's in Cellergize, I thought, wow, the patches did what they did with me, even without the supplement. And once you know what David has put together, I think you're going to feel the same way. And Stacy knows this. I've always been one. I've really wanted everyone to understand some of the science, and Stacy was that way as well in the beginning. And so I, did some PowerPoints that led to the books and things like that. But I really truly believe if we have a little bit of the science, you don't have to be a scientist, you come about it with more authenticity. So here we go. Let's just get this party started. And can you see that, Stacy? It's coming up.
Yep, it's loading right now.
All right, there we go. All right, well, she already read some of this, but I think the most important ones there at the bottom, married to Carla. uh, it's great to be, no matter what age you are, it's great to be married to your best friend. Um, Stacy, in the first exchange we had last week or 2 weeks ago, she put that I only had 24 grandkids. I said, time goes on, it keeps marching on. So I did develop some specialized treatments for inducing normal brain regulation. Um, that's what I do at Clear Mind, Idaho. I still have my practice there. I still treat everything from autism, cognitive decline, seizures, tremors, ADHD, autism, all of those things. All right. For those of you who are new, you might not know about the books that I wrote. Just briefly, How to Reverse Aging is about copper peptides. Once you read that, you'll understand how powerful the X39 and X49 are because both of those peptides are, there's 91 references to the research from since 1977. You can get it on Amazon. If you scan this, it goes to my office and you get an autographed copy for the same price. This is the second book, The Reverse Aging Power of Epitalin. The same is true with this, Amazon or autographed. So let's get started. When I put this slide up, when I made this slide, Cellergize Morning and Heart Health, start your day right and support your patches. For those of you who have been around for a few years, you remember David talking about, we would ask questions and then he would do the Lifewave Business Connect, and he would talk about how people can go to Amazon to support what their body needs to have in order to make the peptides that the patches are designed to stimulate your body to make. So you have to have raw resources. If you're building a house, it doesn't matter if the foundation's dug and the cement is poured. If you don't have any lumber, the work stops. So you have to have certain components in order to build, in order for your body to make or create the peptides. Each patch is designed to elevate production of a different peptide, except for Ice Wave and Energy Enhancer. Those are different. So let's just dive right in here. If I can get there we go. It wasn't advancing. So how does Cellergize benefit my heart? This is what the components we're going to talk about. The structure of my vessels, the myocardium or the heart muscle itself, and then the blood vessels. The inside lining of the blood vessels are very, very important. All right, there we go. A little bit slow. So let's talk about the different, what is in Cellergize. We have L-citrulline, creatine monohydrate, beta-alanine, glycine. There's a little bit lag on my slides. I hope you're seeing everything. Let's see if it doesn't on this one. All right. What else is in there? N-acetylcysteine or NAC. It's known as that. L-lysine. And if you remember, lysine is one of the amino acids in GHK. Niacin is in Cellergize, and then vitamin C, a few more. Sea buckthorn, also known as Cyanthox 50. Potassium. There's also selenium, zinc in that product we're going to go over. So let's talk about citrulline. What does citrulline do? Dr. Stacy in the announcement talked about nitric oxide support with the Cellergize. So L-citrulline increases nitric oxide production, thereby improving blood vessel dilation. I used to tell my patients, I had a little test strip. It was a saliva test for testing nitric oxide. And we would deb it. It's supposed to be really pink, and they didn't even, it was white. I said, well, what does nitric oxide do? I said, it makes your vessels slick, it makes them thick, and it makes them flexible. Those are the key things to remember with that. And so because it keeps them open as well, that's the other thing it does. Then we have the potential for decreasing over high blood pressure. Mechanism. So L-citrulline gets converted to L-arginine, which then is converted to nitric oxide, which then causes that vasodilation. All right. Heart benefit reduces stiffness in our arteries and supports exercise tolerance. Creatine monohydrate, support for aging populations, helps maintain muscle mass, strength, cognitive function in older adults, aiding in overall vitality and fall prevention. The cardioprotective component of that is that may improve heart function in people with heart failure by increasing cellular energy reserves. That's the creatine monohydrate. More properties of creatine monohydrate: cellular hydration and voluminization. Creatine pulls water into the muscles, thereby improving cellular function and protein synthesis. Increases strength and power, so enhances performance in high intensity training, short duration activities like weightlifting and sprinting, but also may support insulin sensitivity and glucose uptake in muscle cells, including the heart muscle. Moving on to beta-alanine. Beta-alanine increases muscle carnosine. Oh, we've heard that word before. Carnosine is really, really important in the heart, and it buffers hydrogen ions, thereby reducing muscle acidity during intense exercise. So when you're working out and you're building a lot of acidity in there, this makes your muscles sore and they don't perform as well. So it increases endurance and improves high intensity performance by increasing carnosine through increasing beta-alanine. It's cardioprotective. It may improve heart function in people with heart failure by increasing cellular energy reserves. Kind of sounded like the last slide. There's a lot of crossover in these supplements, in these components of the Cellergize that you will see. So beta-alanine continue. Carnosine has antioxidant properties. By taking beta-alanine, you increase your carnosine, and also by wearing the carnosine patch. So this would facilitate making all of the carnosine your body is capable of making by providing it with this beta-alanine. So it helps with scavenging free radicals and protecting the cells from oxidative damage. It also improves anaerobic and aerobic performance. So anaerobic is you're going really, really fast. You're not taking in enough oxygen for it to be aerobic. So it's especially effective in HIIT training, sprints, but it can support endurance activities when combined with some other nutrients. Beta-alanine. I have the most slides for beta-alanine. Cardiac muscle protection. The heart contains high levels of carnosine, which we talked about, and increase in beta-alanine intake may help maintain or boost the buffer capacity. The buffering may protect the heart during ischemic episodes like acidosis contributes to the damage that occurs during heart attacks. So it would have a protective in advance of someone having a heart attack. It would be definitely advantageous to have more beta-alanine, therefore more carnosine in the system in preparation. Beta-alanine. Anti-glycation effects. You've heard David talk about this, AGE, glycation. Carnosine helps prevent glycation, which is a process where sugars bind to proteins, leading to the formation of AGE, advanced glycation end products. These are implicated in cardiovascular disease, diabetes, and atherosclerosis. So we're preventing that. Now we get into glycine. Glycine is oops, I got to go back. See if I can get back. Uh-oh. Hold on. Got to get rid of this technical difficulty here. Don't want that. All right. I don't think I can go back because I don't see an arrow on this one. Let's just go forward. Here we go. Glycine. All right. Glycine is one of the three amino acids, not only that form collagen, but also the GHK copper peptide. It's the G, glycine, histidine, and lysine of the GHK. So collagen is crucial when we're considering the elasticity, the strength of our cardiovascular system. So if when we're talking to people, they'll ask about, well, they'll say like, I used the patch for 4 hours and I didn't feel anything, or I used it for a month and I didn't feel anything. And I ask questions like these. When does someone find out they had a burst aortic aneurysm? And they look at me puzzled and I say, they actually don't. Their relatives do. So if you can do things over a period of 10, 20, 30 years that make it so your cardiovascular system is rock solid, not only with strength, but also elasticity, flexibility, and you avoid things like that, that would be kind of a good long-term benefit of using these products. So glycine also reduces inflammation. Inflammation is the most diseases start as a result of long-term exposure to insulation. Glutathione is also a precursor to glutathione, glycine, precursor to glutathione. And we all know what glutathione is. It's the most powerful antioxidant in the body. Melatonin is, I think, second. Glycine protects those cells when, that one of the first slides we talked about, we're going to talk about the inside lining of the endothelium. Those cells are all important to maintain that vascular integrity. So it protects these cells and enhances vascular flexibility, nitric oxide signaling. You'll notice that most of these components in Cellergize, I would say at least half of them enhance nitric oxide signaling production. So it's a very, very important thing for heart health. So it helps lower blood pressure. Glycine, another one. So you might have, if you've gone to a cardiologist ever, or your doctor says, well, you got to check your homocysteine level. What is that? Homocysteine. Well, it's an amino acid linked with higher risk of heart attacks and strokes when it's elevated. So they monitor that. That's one of the things that they monitor. So glycine has been shown to protect heart tissue during temporary loss and restoration of blood flow, like heart surgery or heart attacks. So there's another thing we can tell people that we're sharing these products with. If you're older and you're at risk of a heart attack, or you're going to have heart surgery, this is very, very important. This Cellergize can really help be protective of that. Glycine, again, there's a lot on glycine. And if you think about it, glycine is in GHK, so we need glycine to make GHK copper peptide. So by reducing inflammation, oxidative stress, and improving lipid metabolism, glycine by itself contributes to decreased arterial plaque formation. It improves fatty acid oxidation, which can reduce triglycerides, LDL, cholesterol, and indirectly benefit heart health. Lastly, I think with glycine, Low plasma glycine levels are associated with increased risk of heart disease, type 2 diabetes, and obesity. Studies suggest that supplementing with glycine can improve blood pressure, sleep, insulin sensitivity, and inflammatory markers. N-acetylcysteine, David has talked about this a lot. So NAC boosts glutathione levels, and glutathione neutralizes free radicals. So those things can damage the endothelial lining that I was just talking about, the all-important endothelial lining. Why is that so important? Because if you get past that, you're going to get into the vessel itself. If the blood gets through that and out into the vessel, that's called a dissecting aortic aneurysm. My brother-in-law died from that about 15 years ago. Ironically, he and I studied those in chiropractic college. I introduced him to my sister-in-law and they got married. But he passed away from that. A healthier endothelium equals improved vascular tone, elasticity, and resistance to plaque formation. That's where it all goes down, right in that endothelium. N-acetylcysteine continued. This reduces the risk for atherosclerosis, hypertension, ischemic events, so heart attacks, strokes. And again, here it is again. NAC enhances nitric oxide bioavailability, one of the most important things for heart health. NAC continued. Problem. In oxidative stress conditions, nitric oxide becomes inactivated by reactive oxygen species. NAC solution reduces oxidative stress, preserve nitric oxide function, and may stimulate nitric oxide production via enhanced endothelial function. Right. Screen was stuck. So here's the result in taking this N-acetylcysteine: better blood flow, lower blood pressure, and reduced cardiovascular strain. All right, L-lysine, glycine, histidine, lysine. Lysine is also part of GHK, copper peptide. Lysine is part of a controversial but widely discussed theory by Dr. Linus Pauling. And he suggests that lysine, along with vitamin C and proline, may help prevent lipoprotein A from binding to damaged arterial walls. And it may contribute to plaque stability or prevention of arterial blockage by blocking lipoprotein A binding sites. So let's unpack that. Lysine is theorized to block the binding sites on the endothelium where lipoprotein A sticks, thereby preventing those buildups in the arterial walls. All right, L-lysine. Collagen is needed for strong, flexible arteries. Since lysine is essential for collagen production, it supports vascular elasticity. And so you get more resistance to damage that leads to atherosclerosis. By aiding collagen repair and potentially decreasing that lipoprotein A activity, lysine may reduce chronic arterial inflammation. And when it does that, you have much less chance of things sticking to it because the endothelium stays slick. We don't have interruptions in it and little pockets, little inflammation spots where it can stick. Vitamin C. I use this when people say, well, how do I know this is working? I say, well, how do you know vitamin C is working when you take it? The endothelium is the inner lining of blood vessels. Vitamin C helps keep it flexible and responsive. It enhances the bioavailability. Here it is. enhances the bioavailability of nitric oxide, NO, which relaxes the vessels and improves blood flow. Almost all of these things enhance nitric oxide production or availability. Some clinical studies show vitamin C may modestly lower both systolic and diastolic blood pressure, especially in people who have high blood pressure. More on vitamin C. Vitamin C is essential for collagen synthesis, helps maintain strong elastic blood vessels, may also prevent aneurysms and vascular rupture, particularly in aging or fragile arteries. Several large-scale observational studies have shown higher vitamin C levels are associated with reduced risk, and here's your take-home message, heart attack, stroke, coronary artery disease. Niacin, one of the oldest lipid-lowering agents. Way back when I was in chiropractic college, I had a patient with really, really high, LDL, and back then we were, focusing on it nutritionally, and we took it down just with niacin down into normal range. It increases HDL, it lowers LDL, reduces triglycerides, decreases lipoprotein A that we were just talking about, which is a genetic risk factor for heart disease that's hard to treat. So you can go back and look at the percentages here, but niacin is a pretty powerful nutrient that's in our Cellergize. So sea buckthorn, aka cyantox, this has been used for a long time. Like the research shows that there's talk about it from hundreds of years ago. Neutralizes free radicals, reduces oxidative stress, which is, oxidative stress is a known contributor to atherosclerosis, hypertension, and endothelial. Remember, endothelial is the inside lining cells of our vessels, and that's what is you can consider that those are first responders. They're the protectors of the realm. They don't let stuff get out into your vessels, or if they're maintained in a healthy state, then you're less likely to get things sticking to it. More on the sea buckthorn. Here it is again. Supports nitric oxide availability, enhancing vasodilation. That's what nitric oxide does. Blood flow, improved endothelial function, leads to lower blood pressure, better circulation, reducing cardiovascular risk. Almost everything in Cellergize does at least some parts of that. So anyone with heart concerns, you can rest assured this is really good for the heart. So cholesterol and lipid profile. Some studies show with sea buckthorn, you get reduction in the LDL and triglycerides and moderate increases in HDL. Now you're seeing even more crossover, like just with niacin, if we just compare that with niacin. Most clinical trials on sea buckthorn or cyantox 50 have used oral doses ranging from 250 milligrams to 500 milligrams a day. Cellergize has 300 milligrams. So there you go. Potassium, kind of an afterthought with most people. Potassium, do I have a supplement named potassium? Most of the time not, but it helps regulate heartbeat, and potassium is vital for maintaining the electrical activity in the heart. You got this interaction with sodium to generate electrical impulses that control heart rhythm. So imbalances in your potassium level can lead to irregular heartbeats, which obviously can be life-threatening. Potassium, more on potassium. According to large-scale studies, there's one called the DASH diet study. Diets rich in potassium are associated with lower risk of ischemic stroke, reduced incidence of coronary artery disease, and lower all-cause vascular mortality. That's how important potassium is. and it's in Cellergize. Copper. I got your copper here. Copper is especially important for the heart. So copper is essential for the enzyme. It's called lysyl oxidase. You don't have to remember that, but it's an enzyme that helps the cross linkages of collagen and elastin. They have to bind together, and it's copper that is essential in order for to make that enzyme work. So it's responsible for the structural proteins in the wall, the key structural proteins in the walls of the vessels and the heart. Now, I've told you about two of the amino acids that's in the GHK copper peptide, and it is the GHK copper peptide that then delivers copper out where you need it. And it exists in the blood as GHK and also GHK copper peptide. So the GHK doesn't have copper. And I tell people it's going back to get more copper, and then it's going to bring copper where it's needed. It's the trucker that delivers copper. Copper is essential for the, we already did that. Okay. All right. Next slide. Come on. Don't make me wait. The computer does this a little slow. So copper is required for the function of cytochrome C oxidase. You've heard David talk about that. This is where the GHK comes in as well. It's in the final stage of making our energy. So cellular energy is called ATP production, especially in the heart muscles. The energy is all important. You can run out of energy in your biceps, and it's not going to be such a bad day as it is if you run out of energy in your heart. And it's pumping 100,000 times a day. So without enough copper, there it goes, lagging again. There we go. Heart rhythm can become irregular. Cardiac output may decline. You don't want to run out of energy in your cardiac muscle. Copper is what does one of the final stages in ATP production. A little bit more on copper. Helps maintain cholesterol balance. Once again, we hear crossover. Adequate copper helps modulate cholesterol metabolism, lowers LDL bad, increases HDL good, inhibits oxidation of LDL, again, helps reduce the probability of plaque formation. Zinc. Zinc influences calcium channels and cardiac muscle contraction. It supports normal, here it is again, endothelial function, which is critical for proper dilation and constriction of blood vessels. Zinc also is vital for DNA synthesis and cell division. The process is necessary for repairing damage to blood vessels and heart tissue. So if you do get damage, you have to have zinc in order to repair it. It supports apoptosis, or programmed cellular death in damaged cells, preventing them from becoming dysfunctional or cancerous. So we talk about that a lot. I've talked about that in a lot of my webinars that I've done. Apoptosis is your body kills off 50 to 70 billion cells a day that are old, sick, or dying. And zinc is involved in that process. So it's very important to have zinc. You got to be careful with zinc. You don't want to take too much zinc, because you have to have a balance between zinc and copper. And if you don't, then things can kind of become kind of askew, shall we say. A little bit more on zinc. Zinc may help modulate blood pressure through its role in regulating, there's that word again, nitric oxide production. Nitric oxide relaxes blood vessels, as you know, improving circulation and lowering blood pressure. A little bit more on zinc. Zinc plays a role in modulating cholesterol levels and glucose utilization. Once again, another product that's in Cellergize: glucose, cholesterol. A deficiency in zinc has been associated with increased LDL cholesterol, decreased LDL cholesterol, and insulin resistance, a risk factor for heart disease. Last but not least, selenium. Selenium is a key component of glutathione peroxidase. It's an enzyme that neutralizes harmful free radicals. It reduces oxidative stress. As we know, with some of the other ones we've talked about, oxidative stress accelerates plaque buildup because of the effect on the endothelium in our blood vessels. So it can lead to heart disease. It helps protect blood vessel walls, prevent that buildup of the LDL cholesterol, keeps it from oxidizing. Oh, one more thing on selenium. Chronic inflammation contributes to heart attacks, strokes, and heart failure. Selenium reduces levels of inflammatory markers like C-reactive protein. That's another thing when you go to the doctor and they take your blood. One of the big things that we're looking at is C-reactive protein. You don't want to have a chronically C-reactive protein, but selenium is important to keep the levels of that CRP down. Adequate selenium helps calm inflammation that would normally damage the cardiovascular system. Oh, one more slide. I keep saying one more. I forgot how many slides I made. Selenium. Oh, yes. Selenium is vital for thyroid hormone metabolism. So if you think about that, um, that metabolism in turn affects the heart rate and rhythm. So both hyper and hypothyroidism are influenced by selenium status. And if that gets off, it can lead to arrhythmias, high blood pressure, and cardiac stress. You thought I was done with selenium. Only because I told you so. Also, there's in selenium deficient regions, there's a disease called Kishan disease or Kishan disease. It's a form of potentially fatal cardiomyopathy. So that's on the extreme end of selenium deficiency. So that's been documented. It underscores the importance of selenium in maintaining heart health muscle. All right. Cellergize has what it takes. It helps with blood pressure regulation, and parts of my slide aren't showing up. Decreased risk of stroke and myocardial infarction. Strong helps our vessels stay strong and flexible. Let's see if it shows up on the next slide. I'll give it a little time. Improved workouts, vitality and energy, optimal nitric oxide levels. It also, Cellergize, improved sleep, regulates blood lipid levels, protects against atherosclerosis. Okay, for those of you who weren't here at the first, here's another chance. You can scan these or you can watch the replay. I hope this gives you the information that you need to make a decision on adding Cellergize to your routine. I haven't said since it came out. I really like it. I feel good using it. I feel like takes my heart level to the next level, my heart health to the next level. And I would encourage everybody to, maybe watch this again if you need to, and then start using it if you haven't. I don't know if Stacy had any, Dr. Stacy had any time or wanted to answer any questions if we have time.
Absolutely. There were a couple questions people were asking. So, one of the big things they wanted to know was pre workout or post workout. Now, of course, we know it's morning. So, my son takes it pre, I take it post. So, what are your thoughts on that?
I take it pre just because of all the effects on the nitric oxide level. That's a biggie. And I
Mhm.
want to have that when I'm working out.
Perfect. Okay.
Plus all the collagen repair, for muscle, heart muscle, skeletal muscle.
Yep. Got it. Makes sense. Makes perfect sense. Another question that people were asking was in regards to why would you feel tired if you took the Cellergize, where most of us feel energized. We feel like,
Right.
whew, lots of energy. Why would you feel tired? What's going on inside of the body to cause that kind of feeling?
You have to consider a couple of things. One, genetic variance. Um, we're all different genetically. They might not have, but like I have a couple of genetic variants, and I know about them now. I didn't know about them before. But also, if they're not, let's say their gut health is not good, and now we have some hiccups in that, or my drainage funnel is not good. If my body starts to go through a bit of a detox for using the patches or using this product or any product, it's not the fault of the product. It's the body's inability to detox fast enough. That's what I've found. I haven't had anybody get tired by using the Cellergize, but with the patches, that's what I've kind of counseled people is, slow it down a little bit. Don't wear it all day. Wear it for a couple of hours at a time and let your body have a chance to catch up. If you
Mhm.
have um, genetic variants that make it so you can't detox very quickly, as you
Mhm.
know, other people don't notice a different or don't notice any hiccups, so to speak, any slow down of my detox, but other people respond kind of slowly because of that the inability to go through the detox that the patches or the peptides are inducing your body to do. They're inducing it to get rid of a lot of the old junk.
Mhm.
And so that might be it because remember we were talking about it assists in apoptosis. So if they have a lot of cells that are sick and dying, and then all of a sudden the killing is the knocking those things off is accelerated, that would explain why they would feel sluggish and tired.
Mm, that makes perfect sense. So someone asked, can this help with other organs and linings in the body? Of course, we focused on nitric oxide, heart health, and things like that, but would you make that assumption or can you say for
Absolutely.
sure?
This was just a narrow focus of heart health, and I tried to just pull, data about specifically related to the heart. Maybe we could do another one on, how it affects other things. But, if you think about it, if it affects the heart like that, even if it didn't affect any of the other organs, man, what a powerful, powerful supplement.
Yeah. I told everybody before this, I said, do you know anyone that has a heart? If you know anyone that has a heart, this is something that they're going to need to hear. That's pretty plain and simple. I mean, if that presentation you just went through, like if you don't have that sitting on your counter every single morning, those key electrolytes and amino acids are vital. And most people don't get that amount or even get them, right, in their daily consumption of whatever food like substances they're consuming. And so, yes, we know they're the precursors. They're really powerful in assisting our peptides in doing what they're supposed to do. But we also know that this was, the formulation of this with that, even the C. buckthorn, when we look at stem cells, we didn't even get into just for time purposes. And again, we're going to have to do this again, Dr. Harmon. But when you get into all of these nutrients and what they do to support healthy stem cells, the mobilization and activation of stem cells, it's just that's a whole nother topic in what's
Right.
happening in the body with with this supplement.
Yes, since this was a narrower focus on just the heart, but if you think about when I say just the heart, that sounds kind of funny. Can it affect the brain? Well, you have your circulation in the brain. Can it affect your kidneys? Yes, you have those arteries that go through the kidneys, and then you have the exchange of fluid. And so you look at if it affects the heart, it affects everything, specifically, activating stem cell. There's stem cell activation properties in some of those things.
Mhm.
So yeah, it affects the entire body.
Yeah.
And what a great way to start your morning.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So the last question they're asking is about mixing it. Can they mix it in water, put it in the refrigerator overnight, and then just grab their container and go in the morning and drink it maybe on the way to work or on the way to the gym? Is there anything wrong with doing that?
You know what? I don't know any, haven't heard any data on degradation in the fridge. It should be fine overnight, over a long period of time, and letting it get hot. No, but it should be stable, refrigerated like that and covered.
Yeah.
You don't want to have it exposed to oxygen because then you have interaction with, you know, oxygen, anything that's exposed. That's why we have lids on vitamins. So, we don't get exposure to that. It's just degradation. Over a short period of time, you should be okay.
Perfect, perfect. Thank you. I appreciate it. Well, Dr. Harmon, thank you so much for that thorough, in-depth, incredible presentation on Cellergize and our heart health and how that product can radically make a difference in everyone's heart on the planet. So all 8 billion of us have one right now. And we want to keep that one we have moving correctly, working correctly in our body. So I really appreciate you taking the time to be here.
Thank you. It was a lot of fun. I hope everybody gets a good, solid foundation in it, and they know it, so they can share it with the world.
Yes, absolutely. I did put the links also in the chat for your books. And of course, I will have this replay up on my YouTube channel, and I'll put the links for those in the description as well too. So if anyone wants to click in the description, they can get your books from there.
Great.
Thank
Thanks
you,
a
Dr.
lot.
Harmon. Thank you, everyone. Get
Bye,
back to the
everybody.
person that invited you if you have any other questions, and have a fantastic evening.